This new pyramid that's just come out?
Oh, this is insane. So apparently, through the use of LiDAR, they have discovered that there are enormous structures underneath the Great Pyramid that go kilometers deep into the earth with coils. So enormous pillars, and then these coils. They don't understand what it is because they're just looking at LiDAR images. But whatever this is a uniform structure. There's several pillars, and all of this is like very, very, very weird.
Yeah, it's 600 meters descending down those cylinders, and then there's more stuff below it, and then there's additional structures inside of it. Yeah, that was crazy.
Hidden deep within the ancient Pyramid of Giza, a mysterious room has been opened that's been untouched by human hands since the time of the pharaoh.
This corridor, it's protecting. It might be chamber, it might be something else. Very soon we can figure out what is the main issue of this corridor.
What lies inside? Lost treasures, ancient technology, or knowledge that could rewrite our understanding of history? Even Joe Rogan is diving into the mystery of JRE, sparking conversations about the secrets of ancient civilizations.
Very limited idea of technology based on what we've experienced.
Yeah.
But if you had anatomically similar human beings that lived for thousands and thousands of years.
This isn't just an archaeological find, it's a potential gateway to the past, unlike anything we've ever seen before. Ancient engineering at the Step Pyramid of Giza. Ancient Egypt's architectural evolution did not begin with the towering structures at Giza. Much earlier, there was the Step Pyramid of Giza at Saqqara, about 30 kilometers south of Cairo. Built during the 3rd dynasty, around the 27th century BCE, for Pharaoh Djoser, this monument was a massive leap forward in the use of stone blocks for large-scale construction. What makes the Step Pyramid so incredible is the way it transformed traditional mastaba tomb, rectangular structures of mud brick, into a grand, layered complex. Instead of sticking to one flat platform, the architect Imhotep took stacked mastabas and arranged them in decreasing size as they went up, creating the world's first major stone pyramid. Originally standing about 62 meters tall, it must have been an overwhelming sight in its day when Egypt's buildings were often small and made of mud brick. Beneath the pyramid stretches a massive network of underground tunnels and room extending over 5 kilometers. These corridors protected a central burial chamber carved from granite and served as magazines for offerings, symbolic goods, or even tomb decorations meant to honor the king. Many areas were lined with eye-catching blue faience tiles to imitate reed mat wall, highlighting the artistic creativity that thrived at Djoser's court. Around the pyramid sits a vast mortuary complex. A 10.5-meter-high limestone enclosure wall surrounds an area filled with courtyards, ceremonial spaces, and shrines. One such courtyard, often referred to as the Hebsed Court, was used for royal rituals believed to renew the pharaoh's power, performed after 30 years on the throne and every few years afterward. Not only did the Step Pyramid symbolize a new building style, but it also served as a place for renewal of the king's authority. Imhotep, who masterminded this design, was later deified as a patron of wisdom, architecture, and even medicine. His architectural leaps paved the way for the grander pyramids at Giza and beyond. By showing the world that stone could be used on a massive scale, Egypt opened the door to centuries of ambitious monuments. Even today, the Step Pyramid continues to intrigue researchers with its underground passages, unique shape, and the brilliant mind that made it possible. Far from just a prototype, it's a triumph in its own right, displaying ancient engineering skills that still captivate modern eyes. Cleopatra's tomb. Few figures from the ancient world stir up fascination like Cleopatra VII, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic dynasty. Believed to have been fluent in multiple languages and politically astute, she formed alliances with two powerful Roman figures, Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, but ultimately faced Rome's might head-on. While her dramatic life and relationships are well documented in historical texts, her final resting place remains a mystery that continues to grip archaeologists worldwide. For years, excavations led by researchers such as Dr. Kathleen Martinez, working alongside Egyptian authorities, have focused on a site called Taposiris Magna near Alexandria. Ancient writings by Plutarch and Cassius Dio hint that Cleopatra might have chosen a temple dedicated to the goddess Isis to house her tomb. Clues discovered at Taposiris Magna, including coins stamped with Cleopatra's face and statues reflecting her era, suggest the area's strong link to the queen. One of the more impressive discoveries there is a long underground passage, potentially leading to hidden chambers. Archaeologists exploring this tunnel found fragments of religious items and references to a queen of kings, echoing Cleopatra's preferred epithet. The possibility of Cleopatra's grave lying deep within these uncharted rooms captures imaginations. Was she buried alongside Mark Antony after they both died in 30 BCE? In addition, unusual events surrounding these digs, like sandstorms coinciding with key findings, have fueled modern legends about curses or supernatural episodes tied to Cleopatra's memory. Yet the core mystery remains an academic one, the hope of uncovering relics that could confirm Cleopatra's final resting place. While the exact location of Cleopatra's tomb is still unknown, the quest endures. Each new season of excavation might hold the key to solving this ancient puzzle. In the meantime, what researchers have already found has reshaped our understanding of Cleopatra as more than just a famed seductress. Her mastery of diplomacy, architectural ambition, and cultural fusion showcased a woman capable of leaving a powerful mark on both Egyptian and Mediterranean politics. The legend lingers, drawing adventurous minds to keep digging, literally and figuratively, for the Queen's final chapter. The Sphinx and its hidden chambers. At the Giza Plateau in Egypt, the Great Sphinx has stood watch for millennia, guarding the pyramids and gazing toward the rising sun. With a lion's body and human head, likely modeled after the pharaoh Khafre, the Sphinx might seem straightforward at first glance. Yet researchers have long debated the monument's origins, construction date, and whether it hides passages and chambers beneath. Carved directly from the limestone bedrock, the Sphinx is about 73 meters in length and 20 meters high. Over time, drifting sands buried its body up to the neck, leaving only the head visible for centuries. It wasn't until the 1920s and 1930s that extensive excavation fully uncovered the body. Modern ground-penetrating radar and seismic surveys suggest voids or cavities beneath the Sphinx's paws and in other areas. Exactly what these hollows contain, if anything, remains unclear since access is highly restricted and solid evidence is lacking. Some theories propose that these chambers might be ancient storage rooms, symbolic tombs, or even part of a fabled Hall of Records containing hidden knowledge from a lost civilization. Another highlight is the dispute over weathering patterns on the Sphinx and the surrounding enclosure. Certain observers argue that the heavy vertical erosion marks point to rainfall far more extensive than what we see in Giza's arid climate of the last 4,500 years. This raises the idea that the Sphinx is older than the conventional date, possibly predating typical dynastic timeline. Although this theory is disputed by mainstream Egyptology, it has sparked lively debates about the region's climate shifts and the possibility of a pre-dynastic origin. The fascination continues thanks to stories of secret tunnel. Historical records mention small passages in the Sphinx's head and back, but these appear to be related to more recent investigative work or ancient attempts at excavation. Despite many rumors, no definitive hidden library or major undiscovered chamber has been documented scientifically. For most researchers, the Sphinx is noteworthy enough as an astounding work of Middle Kingdom engineering, artistry, and symbolism. Whether or not it safeguards deeper mysteries, its sheer presence near the Great Pyramid exerts a powerful hold on the human imagination. Even after thousands of years, the Sphinx retains an aura of intrigue, blending Egyptian heritage, geology, and riddles waiting to be solved. The Osiris Shaft beneath the Giza Plateau. Many visitors to the Giza Plateau zoom in on the Great Pyramid, the Sphinx, and perhaps the smaller pyramids. But tucked away underground is a structure that challenges mainstream timelines, the so-called Osiris Shaft. Known since the 19th century, but more thoroughly examined in the 1990s, this shaft plunges deep into the bedrock, and it might contain clues about how ancient Egyptians viewed the underworld. Sometimes called the Tomb of Osiris, the shaft consists of multiple levels. The topmost section is relatively simple, but as you descend, you discover a second level with empty burial niches. Further down, you reach a watery chamber, housing a large sarcophagus in the middle of what feels like a submerged island. Archaeologists like Zahi Hawass had to pump out water just to access these lower parts, uncovering a challenging labyrinth of corridors and hidden spaces. No inscriptions clearly date the Osiris Shaft, though artifacts found within often relate to periods like the New Kingdom, suggesting people visited or reused it. The watery lower level is especially evocative, reminding many of Egyptian myths involving Osiris, the god of death and rebirth, who was linked to fertile floods of the Nile. The presence of water deep underground might have carried profound symbolism for rituals or spiritual events. One intriguing observation comes from the complexity of transporting heavy stone sarcophagi into these cramped, submerged spaces. How exactly did workers lug these massive blocks far below the surface, especially if the shaft was never intended for easy access? Historians point to advanced engineering, or, at minimum, a very determined labor force. Alternative thinkers sometimes tie the Osiris Shaft to theories of a lost high-tech civilization, pointing to unusual features like the precision-lowered sarcophagi and the possibility of pre-dynastic origins. Yet mainstream scholarship sees it as an extraordinary example of subterranean tomb design, possibly adapted over time for multiple uses. The question of exactly who built it and for which purpose keeps the site a compelling piece of Giza's vast puzzle. Sitting silently below the desert sands, the Osiris Shaft reminds us that Egypt's most fascinating secrets aren't always on the surface. The intricate Kailasa Temple in India. Moving beyond Egypt, there is another ancient marvel that invites comparisons to advanced engineering: the Kailasa Temple in India's Ellora Caves complex. Carved from a single, massive rock around the 8th century CE, it's dedicated to the Hindu god Shiva. Many tourists, upon first seeing Kailasa, wonder how such an enormous structure, measuring around 60 meters long and 30 meters high, was created by hand. The effort here wasn't additive, as with stone blocks stacked to form pyramids. Instead, it was a process of removal. Artisans chiseled top-down directly into basaltic rock. This means workers had to plan carefully in order to avoid structural errors that could cause the entire effort to collapse. Historians estimate that at least 200,000 tons of rock were removed. Intricate carvings of gods, mythological tales, and geometric patterns fill the interior and exterior walls, showcasing artistry in addition to engineering. Local legends go a step further, claiming that the temple was built in a miraculous time span or with supernatural help. Comparisons have been drawn to Petra in Jordan, or even the rock-cut tombs in ancient Egypt, given the shared technique of carving straight into rock. Yet Kailasa's scale is truly at another level, with entire multi-story halls and shrines connected by courtyards. Some modern theories propose that workers might have used advanced geometry and pulleys or scaffolding, but there's no direct text describing these methods. Similar to debates around the Great Pyramid, the conversation ranges from standard ancient chiseling to unverified ideas of lost technology. While mainstream archaeologists lean toward an interpretation of skilled labor and careful organization, the temple's existence remains testament to a brilliant construction approach that can still astonish us today. The Kailasa Temple stands as a reminder that remarkable feats of architecture are not exclusively tied to one region. Ancient civilizations in India, Egypt, and other places pushed the limits of stone carving without what we would consider modern machinery. Their accomplishments, though separated by thousands of miles, show parallel human drives to honor gods, memorialize rulers, and express cultural identity through large, enduring works of art. Unraveling secrets of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Of all Egypt's wonders, the Great Pyramid of Giza repeatedly grabs headlines. Attributed to Pharaoh Khufu around 2550 BCE, it stands roughly 146.6 meters tall in its original form, although centuries of weathering and stone removal have slightly reduced its height. For many, its size alone would be remarkable, but its internal corridors and hidden chambers truly ignite speculation. From the outside, the pyramid might appear as a straightforward structure with a square base, yet inside, there's a descending passage that leads to a subterranean chamber, an ascending corridor reaching the so-called Queen's Chamber, and a monumental corridor known as the Grand Gallery. This gallery rises to the King's Chamber, where an empty granite sarcophagus sits. No mummy or conclusive burial goods were ever found. One notable aspect of the King's Chamber is its ceiling, composed of massive granite beams. Above it, several relieving chambers help offset the pressure of the pyramid's bulk. Copper-based tools and simple ramps are often cited in mainstream archaeology as the likely technology used to move the multi-ton blocks. However, skeptics argue these methods would be too simplistic for lifting such enormous stones 40, 50, or even 100 meters above ground. Muon radiography scans have led to new discoveries, such as the so-called Big Void above the Grand Gallery, an unexpected empty space that may or may not link to other corridors. The function of this void is under debate, with some suggesting it's an accidental cavity created by architectural choices, while others think it's intentional and might conceal further secrets. We also encounter talk of star alignments. Ancient Egyptian records show a deep connection to astronomy, so certain theories propose that the Great Pyramid's design lines up with Orion's belt or other cosmic features. Traditional archaeologists remain cautious, noting that some alignments might be coincidental. Still, the precise orientation to true north within a fraction of a degree indicates advanced knowledge of Earth's geometry. While there's plenty left to learn, mainstream consensus portrays the Great Pyramid as an elaborate tomb and a symbol of Khufu's authority. Its near-perfect alignment and towering height reveal how far the Egyptians were willing to push their architecture to honor a king's journey into the afterlife. Regardless of how it was built, the Great Pyramid remains a masterpiece that continues to spur global curiosity. The Serapeum of Saqqara. Within the necropolis of Saqqara stands the Serapeum, a remarkable underground complex dedicated to the sacred Apis bull. Ancient Egyptians believed the Apis bull was a manifestation of the god Ptah, and later linked to Osiris Apis. Built primarily during the reign of the New Kingdom's ruling dynasties, the Serapeum consists of long galleries carved beneath the desert sands, each chamber carefully crafted to store giant stone sarcophagi. When French archaeologist Auguste Mariette uncovered the Serapeum in 1851, he discovered corridors lined with massive granite and basalt sarcophagi, many weighing over 70 tons. The size and precision of these sarcophagi, as well as their lids, have astonished visitors and scholars alike. How did the Egyptians manage to transport such heavy blocks through narrow underground shafts? Some inscriptions on the walls mention the pharaohs who ordered these burial, while others reference the deified bulls themselves, which were mummified with great ceremony. Apis bulls were revered for their strength and fertility, symbolizing a connection between gods and the Egyptian monarchy. People made pilgrimages here to show devotion or request blessings. Archaeologists point out the site's attention to detail, tight construction tolerances in the stone boxes, carefully polished interiors, and meticulously cut corners. The question remains how these large stones were maneuvered. Common interpretations include ramps and rolling on logs, but the minimal overhead space in those corridors challenges us to envision the actual process. The discovery of the Serapeum sheds light on how animals were elevated in status, treated with elaborate rites, and believed to bridge mortal and divine worlds. Equally compelling is the engineering skill on display. The Serapeum is one more example of ancient Egyptian architects pushing boundaries to create durable and deeply symbolic structures. Even with some chambers left uninscribed or empty, the site stands testament to how far the Egyptians would go to honor a single sacred creature. Traces of Nectanebo's legacy. Nectanebo I, ruling from 380 to 362 BCE, was part of Egypt's 30th dynasty, famously the last native Egyptian dynasty before waves of foreign conquerors changed the country forever. Despite Persian aggression, internal discord, and looming conquests, Nectanebo established a reputation as a vigorous builder and restorer of traditional Egyptian beliefs. An intriguing remnant of his or his dynasty's era is the so-called Lost Temple of Nectanebo in areas near modern Cairo. Periodic droughts in the Nile region, sometimes lower water level, revealing temple foundations believed to be connected with Nectanebo's building efforts. These glimpses offer archaeologists a tantalizing peek into an era of resurgent Egyptian cultural identity. The temple's pillars, partial inscriptions, and design suggest it was a major religious center, possibly associated with the sun god Atum, an important deity linked to creation. This period also saw a broader cultural revival, with Nectanebo financing the restoration of several temples, hoping to mend the spiritual center of a kingdom worn by conflict. Historical references highlight his determined approach to fortifications, seeking to secure the Nile Delta from foreign invasions. Another piece of Nectanebo's imprint extends out from Heliopolis, one of the oldest cities of ancient Egypt, dedicated largely to the worship of the sun god Ra. The name Heliopolis, Greek for City of the Sun, nods to the site's enduring legacy within Greek and local Egyptian traditions. While the city's temple complexes mostly lie in ruins, stray discoveries of statues and stelae show how Nectanebo strove to maintain shrines from earlier dynasties, dedications that echo a back-to-roots approach. The identity of the 30th dynasty embodies both hope and desperation. Nectanebo's substantial endeavors featured everything from re-energizing mana-based traditions at temples to forging alliances appealing to Greek mercenaries. Despite efforts to protect Egyptian autonomy, the century after his rule would see new conquests and the arrival of the Macedonians. Even so, each time the Nile's waters recede near these submerged sites, more faint echoes of Nectanebo's passion for Egyptian heritage surface. The Ark of the Covenant across time. While not uniquely Egyptian, the Ark of the Covenant has occupied a corner of Near Eastern lore for thousands of years. Featured prominently in the Hebrew Bible, it was supposedly a gold-overlaid wooden chest housing the stone tablets of the Ten Commandments. According to biblical tradition, it symbolized the presence of God among the Israelites and had to be handled with meticulous ritual care. Many legends swirl around the Ark's disappearance. One version holds that it was hidden somewhere beneath the First Temple before the Babylonian conquest of Jerusalem in 587 BCE. Others point to places like Ethiopia, where local tradition in the city of Aksum claims the Ark was brought there by Menelik, son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Still, more speculative stories tie the Ark to secret societies like the Knights Templar, proposing that they smuggled it out during the Crusades. In popular culture, Indiana Jones famously reintroduced the Ark as a powerful relic with destructive potential, despite no concrete evidence for these claims. The Ark's story resonates because it blends historical conflict with mystical power. Scholars note parallels between the Ark and ancient ritual chests found in cultures around the ancient Near East and Egypt, where portable shrines for deities were not uncommon. Still, the Ark's status as an artifact from biblical tradition sets it apart in the mainstream imagination. Ongoing exploration in the Holy Land hasn't unearthed a definitive Ark or Ark-like chest, though rumors of hidden tunnels and protected storehouses in Jerusalem remain a staple of sensational headlines. For devout communities in Ethiopia and some corners of Judaism and Christianity, the Ark's existence is a legacy of faith rather than an academic puzzle. In the end, the Ark's role as a potent universal symbol transcends any single historical period. Whether it was a real chest housed in an ancient temple, a lost treasure of a fallen empire, or a spiritual metaphor of divine presence, the Ark remains an enduring focus of fascination. Cappadocia's underground cities. Shifting our view from Africa and the Middle East to central Turkey, we encounter a place where civilizations carved entire worlds below the surface. Cappadocia, famed for its surreal rock formations, fairy chimneys of soft volcanic tuff. Cappadocia also boasts vast subterranean settlements. Among these, Derinkuyu stands out for its size and complexity, some 85 meters deep, with capacity to house thousands of people. Archaeologists suggest these underground refugees may have started small in the 8th or 7th centuries BCE with the Phrygians, then expanded across time by Byzantine Christians seeking refuge from invaders. Defensive features abound. Large circular stone doors could seal off passageway, while narrow corridors forced invaders into single-file lines. Ventilation shafts ensured fresh air reached even the deepest levels, and wells kept citizens hydrated without exposing them to the surface. The biggest puzzle is how entire communities structurally managed to carve out multiple floors, including stables, chapels, and communal kitchens, while maintaining enough support to avoid collapse. The volcanic tuff is relatively easy to shape, yet stable enough once exposed to air and dried. Still, the labor needed to remove so much bedrock was significant, and the labyrinth-like layout suggests that these complexes were carefully planned over generations. Derinkuyu isn't the only subterranean marvel in Cappadocia. Other vast undertown cities like Kaymakli, Özkonak, and more dot the region. Rumors abound about massive underground tunnel linking these cities across miles. Although the exact scale is unconfirmed, it's clear that the region's geology combined with social or religious needs to produce something special, a hidden environment where large communities could retreat during conflict or difficulty. These sites have also sparked speculation on whether major disasters, possibly even cosmic events, drove people underground. While there's no conclusive evidence for that scenario, the interplay of environmental and historical factors definitely shaped the region's tradition of subterranean living. Today, Derinkuyu and its neighboring underground cities are open to visitors who can wander the winding corridors, a living testament to how human ingenuity adapts to adversity in remarkable ways. Unexplained wonders at the Osirian in Abydos. Abydos, northeast of the modern city of Luxor, was already a sacred spot for millennia when the Temple of Seti I was constructed during the New Kingdom. Next to Seti's wonderful temple complex lies the mysterious Osirian, a subterranean structure that doesn't quite fit the standard temple design. Unlike many Egyptian monuments covered in carvings and hieroglyphs, the Osirian is relatively bare. Gigantic granite blocks, some weighing over 100 tons, form its pillars and wall, and the layout is starkly different from typical buildings of the New Kingdom. Water often seeps into this site, filling the lower sections with pools. The reason behind the constant flow and the exact source of the water remain fascinating silhouettes against the backdrop of desert dryness. Some researchers have proposed the Osirian predates not only Seti's temple, but also much of the standard dynastic timeline. Signs of water erosion on the lower blocks spark suggestions of an era when rainfall levels in Egypt were higher. Others consider it a symbolic underworld domain referencing Osiris, as the place is literally slightly below ground and often flooded, representing aquatic renewal or a primeval watery realm. Questions surface about how these massive granite stones were transported from quarries hundreds of kilometers away, then placed so precisely in an underground environment. Like the Serapeum's giant sarcophagi, the engineering skill needed goes beyond typical tomb construction. Some see evidence of advanced or lost building methods, though mainstream thought keeps it within the range of grand Egyptian construction techniques. Whatever its age or purpose, the Osirian stands apart for its stark geometry and watery environment. It is not alone in ancient Egypt as a place that defies easy classification, but it's certainly one of the keenest examples of how many corners of Egyptian history remain poorly understood. Further excavation is complicated by the water infiltration. So many mysteries remain hidden. Even so, researchers keep returning, hoping to pass more of its structural secrets and glean insights into ancient minds that seemed so comfortable blending stone and symbolism at colossal scale. Daring new discoveries and other fascinating sights. Beyond famous locations like Giza and Saqqara, ongoing research frequently brings lesser-known ancient marvels into the spotlight. For instance, in Turkey's southeastern region, the excavation of Göbekli Tepe has upended assumptions about when complex societies and monumental building first took root. Dating back roughly 11,000 to 12,000 years, Göbekli Tepe revealed massive stone pillars arranged in rings, adorned with animal carvings, long before established agriculture took off. This triggered discussions about how spiritual or communal gatherings may have preceded organized farming. In South Africa, Blombos Cave has exposed 100,000-year-old artifacts, including shell beads and abstract markings on ochre. These findings indicate that early humans were already using symbolic thought and personal adornment far earlier than many had assumed. Such revelations point to deep cultural roots, hinting that humankind's capacity for creativity emerged in fits and starts across multiple regions. Meanwhile, in the southwestern desert of the United States, a place called Sage Wall in Montana has fueled debates. It is composed of an unusually linear rock formation that looks suspiciously like giant, carefully stacked polygons. Some see it as entirely natural geology, while others speculate that it's an ancient construction indicating unknown cultures. Though claims of advanced prehistoric engineering are unproven, local explorers remain intrigued by the near straight lines and the site's alignment in the rugged Montana landscape. Back in Egypt, there are rumors about tunnels running beneath the Giza Plateau. A few archaeologists have suggested that more subterranean chambers might exist under the second or third pyramids or near the Sphinx's enclosure. Similarly, the labyrinthine structures described by ancient writers like Herodotus, reportedly near the Fayum region, remain elusive, despite some modern attempts to locate them with ground-penetrating radar. All these scattered findings and emerging sites show that archaeology is far from static. Rather than a completed puzzle, our understanding of ancient civilizations keeps evolving as new pieces come to light. No matter how much we learn, there always seems to be another secret corridor waiting to be mapped, a submerged foundation revealed by drought, or a subterranean labyrinth discovered by a curious homeowner. These examples underscore one simple truth: the ancient world was enormously dynamic, inventive, and interconnected, and we have only scratched the surface of its hidden depths. Thanks for watching another episode. While you are still here, make sure to click the video on your screen for more quality content.